Guys, you got to stop calling out Jake Paul. All of you, stop now. You look foolish. You have not put yourself over or served yourself at all. You've served him. He is not a fighter. He did not come up to the Golden Glove. He's not a fighter. If you are a fighter and you challenge him with an argument that I'm going to kick his ass and here's why. Oh, and by the way, it's a good argument. You're a former world champion. You've had 30 fights. You're really good at something he sucks at. Imagine it's a good argument. That hurts your case. Jake Paul is not looking for somebody to kick his ass. He's looking for somebody's ass to kick who, by the way, brings attention and money to the fight. That's who he's looking for. So if you're a really good fighter and you're calling out Jake Paul, you're not who he wants. And by the way, it's not going to help your career to call him out. It will help your career to get a fight with Jake Paul. I agree with you. You can be the one to get the fight. But if you call for the fight and you don't get it, you now look like a fool. No different than any other call out you do. If you do any call out and you don't get it, you now look like you don't have power within the industry. If you look like you don't have power in the industry, you don't have power in the industry and you don't matter in the industry. So anything that you don't have power to get these deals done in a back room. Have your team contact the Paul team and lay out your case, which is not, I can beat your client up. It is, I have this many followers. Here's the compelling story that I am planning to tell. Oh, and by the way, it wouldn't be a bad idea if you made it as though he could beat you, because that's what he's looking to do. He's looking to beat people up. He's a tough guy. He's training and he's working hard. He sucks and he knows he sucks. That's okay. Put him with guys who suck. He did an interview one time that was very telling. I really respected it a lot. He was on TMZ and he said, bring me a worthy opponent. But he did not finish that statement by talking about a worthy opponent because I'm so great. He said, he was very candid. It might be the first and most candid he's ever been. He said, bring me a worthy opponent. And he followed up by saying, don't bring me a world-class guy. I'm not a world-class guy. Bring me a worthy opponent who's like me, who wants to go get in the gym, spend 8 weeks, work on their skill, going to come out with some grit, going to come out with some conditioning, and wants to be competitive, wants to go out, wants to beat me, and I want to go out and beat them. It was very open as to what he was looking for. It was very honest. It was very real. I really respected when he did this interview, but I feel as though other fighters haven't seen this. If you call for the Jake Paul fight, but you don't have a story as to why it should be you, you don't stand out from the crowd. You've now served him and you make yourself look like a fool. You are open in what it is you want while trying to hide it. What you want is a big payday and an easy match. You want to bring all of your skills, get a payday off of his followers. Oh, and by the way, not have to train for it. You think that you're hiding those, that you're not. We all understand it and we all get it. The only one here who's doing a good job of hiding what it is he actually wants is Paul. He's getting you all to call him out. He's getting his name out there and included. There was a singer who is just atrociously bad. His name is David Allan Coe. And David Coe wrote most of his songs while in prison. He wasn't a good guy and he was a worse singer, but he did something very smart. He sang a song back in the 70s called Willie Whalen and Me. Of course, about Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, and the me being himself, David Coe. He sang a song, Willie Whalen and Me. The song, after about a decade, nobody understood. He didn't run with those guys. He couldn't open for those guys. He couldn't sweep up the green room after those guys partied in it all night. Nobody understood that after a decade. They thought he was one of the boys. They thought he was running around with Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings and Merle Haggard. They thought he was because he sang a song called Willie Whalen and Me, like they were all boys. It was brilliant. And it took about a decade and David Coe started selling out arenas. Now, they were small venues, but he started selling them out. He became one of the originals. He became one of the originals, which was a group that he was never part of, probably never even met those guys, but he sang a song, including himself, Willie Whalen and Me. It's the exact same thing that Paul is doing right now. And Paul is winning. He is now in the conversations of the Dana Whites and the Scott Cokers, the Dylan Dennises and the Conor McGregors and the Floyd Mayweathers of the world. He is not one of those guys. He is not part of that sport. They are including him and bringing him up. And if you ever talk to one of Paul's people will tell you, call him out as though you have a chance to get the fight. They're not going to give you the fight. You have no chance of getting the fight. They just understand if you call him out, the credibility that you have now added to their client who doesn't know how to box. They are working you. They are playing you. They are smarter than you, which is why they will make more, have a higher placement, and they have more followers than you. You are including them in a sport that they're not part of. And now, not only the boxing sport, where he hasn't fought any actual boxer, he's now getting over in MMA. It's a very simple carny trick. And a very simple carny is doing it, all the while dangling a golden carrot in front of you that if you call him out and he accepts, there's going to be a great big payday. It's a simple move. It's a huckster move. He's doing it perfectly, but you all look like fools, and you are fools.